Paul Welling claims the needle of his vintage record player and a vinyl album were broken by his neighbor's son while he was out of town. Donna Gallagher says her tween did admit to damaging the record, but nothing else.
So good day. I've got Mr. Paul Welling here as my plaintiff and Donna Gallagher as my defendant. Ms. Gallagher, I see you've got a witness with you. I assume this is your son? Yes. Okay. Hello, Leo, is it?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Mr. Welling, why are we in court today?
We're here, Your Honor, because I had reached out to Mrs. Gallagher I had to go on a golfing trip with a few buddies for a 3-day weekend. And I reached out to Miss Gallagher to see if Leo could feed my fish.
Okay, so you got some pet fish. You didn't want them unattended.
Yes.
So you wanted this young man to be responsible for them while you were on your golf trip. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, continue.
I showed Leo how to
care for the fish.
Care for the fish, to
feed them.
And he also asked me about my vintage record collection. I have an album collection.
Great. And now, do you have some photos of this so the court can see?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Go ahead and give that to my bailiff, sir. Give him everything you have in your folder there.
Entire folder.
So we can try to review this. Thank you.
Thank you,
sir.
Okay, so this is all sounding just dandy. Where does this all go left?
Well, upon my return, I came home and I found out my needle from my vintage record player was damaged, and I have the record needle here.
That's the needle?
And one of my vintage records were broken.
That's flopping in the wind.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and give that to my bailiff, sir, so I can examine it.
Thank you, sir.
Wow, this is a mess. Okay. And then this is the... Okay, this is the needle. The needle. Okay, I'm understanding. And this is no longer usable, you're saying, sir?
It's no longer usable.
Okay, we know this ain't usable. Okay, who was this, by the way?
Marvin Gaye.
Oh, no, not Marvin Gaye, child. Ain't no sexual healing going on for you, Mr. Welling. Okay, let me get to these pieces here. So let's see this beautiful aquarium. I mean, this isn't just a fish tank. This is an exquisite aquarium you've got here with all these beautiful fish. I mean, this is... I don't know, what is that, 6 feet, Elijah? I mean, that's
about 6 feet on.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. Okay. And so he was supposed to feed the fish. And did he feed the fish?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he did that part correct.
Yes, he did.
Okay, now where does this record player situation come into play?
If you look on the pictures that I have, you can see the vintage records. I have about, like I said, several hundred of them.
Of the records?
They're all in the...
Okay, so I'm looking at a receipt here for this particular record. Oh, those are all the records.
Yes.
So that's your collection?
Yes, my collection, and the record player is right on top of it.
Okay, so tell me, I'm looking at this receipt. This is for the Marvin Gaye record. That was $25, so you're seeking the full $30?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then, ooh, that's the needle?
That's the needle, special line contact.
So this needle is $660?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you still haven't told me, though, sir, how he broke said needle and record. Because what does feeding fish have to do with the records?
Well, when he came over to the house, he saw the albums, and he wanted to know how to play them. So I took the albums out, one of the albums out. It wasn't the Marvin Gaye; it was another album.
Okay.
I took it out and put it in the record player.
Got it.
And started playing it.
Okay.
What's making it so bad or so hard, Your Honor, is that you just can't take any needle and put it on a record player.
Right.
The quality of the needle, the sound, the audio is what you're listening for.
Okay.
So when you're playing old records, you don't want to just put a $20 needle on.
No, apparently you got to put a $660 needle on. Okay, yes. All right, I see. Okay, so you're showing this young man all of this. He's learning, and then how does he end up? Let me guess. You go on your trip. You showed him what you showed him, and then when you left, and he was doing the fish feeding, he started playing with the record and whatnot, and that's how it got damaged?
That's what he did, Your Honor.
Let's find out more from the defendant. Ms. Gallagher, thank you for coming to court today. You tell me your side. This man is saying that all of this is your son's fault. What is what's your say?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Welling believes that my son broke the needle. However, this is not true. Leo did confess that he did, in fact, break the record but he did not touch the record player, and therefore I don't believe that I am responsible for paying $660 to replace the needle.
Okay, and let me hear from the young witness here. He's sworn in, Elijah?
He is sworn in.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
I just noticed his collection of records.
Had you seen one of those before?
No.
Okay.
I've only
Elijah,
seen him on.
that we owe.
And later,
Oh, he did a lot. Okay, now because it's one thing to get like a snack. He got a whole surf and turf. So we doing steak and lobster. Okay.
Full Justice is back with the case of Paul Welling, who brought Donna Gallagher to court over a damaged record player and LP.
You take this job to fish sit for this young man. So tell me how you started even talking about and engaging with the record player and the records. Let's get to that part.
Well, I just noticed his collection of records.
Had you seen one of those before?
No.
Okay.
I've only
Elijah,
seen him on.
that we owe. Hey, watch this one. Have you ever seen? Do you know what a CD is? You know what a compact disc is?
No.
No, exactly. How about this one? A disc man. You know what that is? No, exactly. Ooh.
We owe.
We owe.
We owe.
Okay. All right. So you see this archive, this artifact known as a record, and you're curious because you've never seen this before, right? And then, you know, your nice neighbor here, Mr. Welling, explains everything to you, and he lets you know that. Does he say to you, Leo, that these are delicate and that they must be handled with care? What does he say to you?
He says, things that you love, you need to take care of, and you need to be really gentle with the records, and especially the needle.
Yes. Oh, so he did tell you all of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Okay, so he goes on about his golfing trip with his buddies. You start coming over every day. And how many days were you supposed to feed the fish?
3 days.
3 days, okay. So you're coming over, and which day did this alleged breaking happen?
This happened on Sunday, the last day.
The last day. So you did the first 2 days were great.
Yes.
Okay, so third day, last day, you go feed the fish, and then you start getting curious about the records?
Yes.
Okay, so you go over to what? Browse through them, or what? You tell me what happened, Leo.
I reached for one of the records, and as I pulled it out, it slipped out of the sleeve and hit the ground, and it cracked.
Is it this the record?
Yes.
That you, okay. Okay, so you're saying that you never even got a chance to put it on the record player.
Yes.
So therefore, you don't know anything about this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Mom, is that the story he told you?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay, what say you, Mr. Welling?
Well, Your Honor, when he came over Thursday,
The day after?
the day to show him how to feed the fish tank the day before.
Oh, the day before,
He came.
okay.
I left Friday.
Right.
He came over Thursday. I played records. We played a record. After that, after he did that, then he left.
Did
and
you
he
play
went
this
home.
record?
No, it was
No, it's a
another
different
record.
one. Okay.
It was another record.
He's saying, though, to the court, Mr. Welling, that he's admitting, actually, that he broke Marvin Gaye record. He's saying he did that. He's owning that.
Yes,
but he's
Your
saying he don't know nothing about this $660 needle that you're speaking about.
Well, Your Honor, how could it be I was gone for 3 days and come back on Monday morning, and I couldn't play my I couldn't play my
Okay,
record.
so you're saying, Mr. Welling, that it worked just fine before
Yes,
your
Your
trip,
Honor.
but when you got back and you went to play a record, no
Yes,
dice.
if you look at it, Your Honor, there's no needle in it.
Well, I was wondering. I didn't want to say
There's
nothing.
no needle.
Okay, okay. So this is where the needle should be?
Yes.
Right here?
Yes,
Okay.
right on. If you pull it, you could pull it apart.
Okay, and that's what I'm seeing here?
Yes.
Okay, I see. So it's missing. It is missing. Okay, let me look at these emails that you've provided to the court, Mr. Welling. I'm disappointed because I trusted him and you didn't even give me the courtesy to let me know what happened. I found my record player needle broken and one of my vintage records. I will need to be reimbursed for this immediately. It's $660 for the new needle and $30 for the record replacement. This is frustrating. I would like to talk to Leo when I get the chance. What you was gonna say to Leo?
I was just going to tell him that you have to be responsible. You have to be accountable for things that you do. And I felt that he's a good kid. Leo's a good kid.
I get that impression. In fact, he's such a good kid, I believe, that he's taken a sworn oath with my bailiff here to tell this court the truth and nothing but the truth. Correct, Leo?
Yes.
Now I'm going to ask you to stand in your integrity, young man. How old are you?
I'm 12 years old.
12 years old, right? Elijah, this is the becoming of a man, right? We're witnessing this in real time. And I believe if you had anything to do with the breaking of this man's fine record player needle, I believe you would tell the court. Did you touch this man's record-playing needle in any way that caused this damage for it to be broken?
No.
No. Okay. I believe that I've heard enough from both of you. Young Leo, I appreciate your testimony. You may have a seat, young man. And here's where I am on this matter. I agree with you, Mr. Welling. Respect for other people's things as if they are your own is paramount. But the court has to deal with the facts, Mr. Welling, and the court has to deal with what you can prove. You say yourself, I am assuming Leo did it. This case turns on one word. I cannot hold this woman or this young man by proxy accountable for your assumption, sir. Now, if you had had a surveillance video of some sort in your home, then I could award in your favor. But absent that type of offering of proof, sir, I cannot sustain a ruling that supports an assumption on your part. Now, what we do know for sure, he broke your record. He broke your Marvin Gaye classic vinyl. We don't accept that in the court. The court will rule in your favor to the tune of $30. See what I did there, the tune? Y'all caught that? Anyways, to the tune of $30 for the broken Marvin Gaye record. The young man took ownership in my court, and I believe him. I choose to believe that he did not touch your needle, and without proof otherwise, the rest of your claim is dismissed. So I rule in favor of the plaintiff, but for $30.
Yeah.
That's my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $30. Coming up on Equal Justice.
You were satisfied with his work?
Yes, to a point.
But tell me more. What do you mean to a point? Did he do good or no?
He did show up to set late.
Oh.
We were supposed to start shooting at 8 a.m. and he came at 11.
I'm so sorry. You said it 3 hours late.
Yes.
This is Equal Justice. Ryan Parks claims an actor from her TV pilot took her generosity too far after she saw his hefty room service tab. Kyle Jones says Miss Parks told him to enjoy himself, so he followed her instructions.
Good day. I see I've got Ryan Parks as my plaintiff and Mr. Kyle Jones as the defendant. Ms. Parks, I see you're suing for $458. You say that this man took advantage of your kindness. Tell us why we're in court today.
Well, I'm suing the defendant today because I had him in my film, actually a pilot, and I put him up in a hotel room because his car broke down, and he upcharged my card at the hotel.
You were satisfied with his work?
Yes, to a point.
But tell me more. What do you mean to a point? Did he do good or no?
He did okay, but he did show up to set late.
Oh.
We were supposed to start shooting at 8 a.m. and he came at 11.
I'm so sorry. You said it 3 hours late?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Because where I'm coming from, time is money, right?
Time is money on
Okay,
set,
we'll get to his
especially.
side, but okay, so you're saying he showed up to set 3 hours late, delaying more production costs?
Yes, and he didn't know all of his lines completely, so it set us back a little bit, and we had to reshoot a couple scenes the next day.
Okay, and so you talk about this kindness being taken advantage of. What do you mean by that, ma'am?
I went out of my way to make room in our budget to set him up in the hotel room, and he took advantage of that, and he racked up the prices of room service and of the mini bar and of drinks, adding up to $458. That was not previously agreed on.
Okay, do you have a receipt to show the court what you spent, ma'am?
I do, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead. Please proffer that to my bailiff
Just have your entire folder, please. Thanks.
so I can see exactly how much we're talking about. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
Another steak and lobster mac and cheese and an Angus cheeseburger. One thing about this gentleman, you got to hand it to him. He has some great taste.
This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with a case of Ryan Parks, who blames Kyle Jones for sky-high room service charges.
Oh, he did a lot. Okay, now because it's one thing to get like a snack. He got a whole surf and turf. So we're doing steak and lobster. Okay. Margarita from the mini bar incidentals, $50. Golly. And the next morning too, French toast special, another steak and lobster mac and cheese, and an Angus cheeseburger. One thing about this gentleman, you got to hand it to him. He has some great taste. Okay. I'll be back with you in a minute, ma'am. Sir,
Yes,
welcome
hi.
to court. In addition to your great taste for fine dining and exquisite cocktails, explain to the court why you thought it was in your permission to spend this woman's money so cavalier.
She contacted me about a week before we started shooting, and the night of the Friday that I actually checked in, I still had not gotten the script. So the drinks were to calm my nerves about not knowing any of my lines the day prior to shooting. And so she told me to enjoy myself in the room. Next day when I came to set, there was...
So I want to be clear, sir. You're saying that the only instruction that this woman, who's the director producer of the film, who is employing you,
Yes.
she just simply said, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I was simply following directions as she told me to.
You eventually get the script. Do you show up on time to set, sir?
I did not. I got it at 11 o'clock the night prior, and considering it was about 80 pages worth, it was a full-length, 30-minute dramatic, and I was the lead. And taking care of 2 kids at the time, I have to develop a character that properly suits what's going on. I mean...
Okay. What about that man? Did he get the script at 11 o'clock at night?
He did, yes,
Why
Your
was
Honor.
that the case?
Because our writers were making adjustments to the script, so I didn't want to give him a last-minute script. But
that's exactly what you ended up giving him. You do understand it's commonplace in your train of business to give revised scripts, right? Because you could have given him a script upon arrival. He says he arrived at 8. He could have gone to the hotel room, been able to start learning some lines, and then if there's a revision, then there's a revision.
I basically stayed up to like 3 a.m. to make sure that I had most of the lines down as good as I could within the time frame.
Judge Eboni's verdict when Equal Justice returns. This is Equal Justice.
I do believe that she did tell you to enjoy the room. I'm going to give you that much. What I am not going to concede, sir, is that enjoy the room stretches to the kind of interpretation that you would have this court to believe. Because under your theory, enjoy the room could mean call over some of my friends and buddies and we have a party. So when you have that kind of interpretation, Mr. Jones, that allows for enjoy the room to mean any and everything you want it to mean, we get away from a standard of reasonableness that this court has to respect. Therefore, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say that you both contributed to the ambiguity of the communication here, and I'm going to split this baby. Therefore, the court will rule in favor of the plaintiff, but ma'am, it's for $300. That's my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $300.
The soft glow of the morning sun filtered through the tall windows of the courtroom, casting a warm light over the polished wood and the expectant faces of those gathered within. At the center of this world stood a nameplate that carried a weight of dignity and history. If one were to lean in and read the elegant lettering, it would reveal the name Judge Eboni K. Williams. To many, it was just a title, but to the woman sitting behind the bench, it represented a life dedicated to the pursuit of balance. She often told those who entered her sanctuary that the only thing that matters in this particular courtroom is how she sees. Her perspective was a rich tapestry woven from diverse threads, for she was a woman from North Carolina by way of Louisiana with some West Coast cool and a New York edge. On this particular day, the atmosphere was charged with the quiet hum of anticipation. Judge Williams looked out at the individuals before her, her eyes keen and observant. She sensed a flicker of hesitation from a woman standing in the gallery. With a voice that was both firm and inviting, she asked if they had a problem. The woman quickly shook her head, responding with a respectful no, Your Honor. For Judge Williams, equal justice was not just a legal concept, it was all about the most important values of our country. It was about freedom and integrity, the very thing she strove for every time she donned her black robe. She understood the sanctity of personal space and autonomy, reminding a litigious party that while a woman runs her own household, a man gets to run his. Her journey to this bench had been fueled by a clear purpose. She had decided to become an attorney and pursue the law because she wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. She knew that the law was a tool for accountability, but also for understanding. This court could not hold a person accountable without the firm foundation of truth. Her courtroom was a microcosm of humanity, welcoming people from all sectors of life, whether they were black, white, purple, gay, straight, or queer. That diversity was the heartbeat of what equal justice with Judge Eboni K. Williams was all about. The first case of the afternoon session brought together two neighbors who had once shared a peaceful existence. Paul Welling, a man with a deep appreciation for the finer things of the past, stood as the plaintiff. He claimed that the needle of his vintage record player and a precious vinyl album had been broken by his neighbor's son while he was out of town. Opposite him stood Donna Gallagher, the defendant, who acknowledged that her tween son had indeed caused some damage, but disputed the extent of the claim. It was a good day for justice, and Judge Williams was ready to peel back the layers of the story. She greeted Mr. Paul Welling and Ms. Donna Gallagher with professional courtesy. Noticing a young boy standing beside Ms. Gallagher, the judge smiled warmly and confirmed his name was Leo. With the introductions complete, the focus shifted to Mr. Welling. He began to explain the sequence of events that led them to this moment. He had planned a 3-day weekend golfing trip with a few buddies and, wanting to ensure his pet fish were well cared for, he reached out to Ms. Gallagher to see if young Leo could feed them. It was a simple request for a neighborly favor, entrusting the boy with the responsibility of his aquatic companions. Before he left for his trip, Mr. Welling took the time to show Leo exactly how to care for the fish. During this orientation, Leo's curiosity was piqued by Mr. Welling's extensive vintage record collection. To provide a clearer picture of his home environment, Mr. Welling handed a folder of photos to the bailiff. The images revealed a magnificent 6-foot aquarium, an exquisite setup that was far more than a simple fish tank. Everything seemed to be going well until Mr. Welling returned from his trip. Upon his arrival, he discovered that the needle from his vintage record player was damaged and no longer usable. Even more heartbreaking for a collector, one of his vintage records was broken. Judge Williams examined the damaged needle and the record, noting with a touch of wit that it was a Marvin Gaye album. She remarked lightheartedly that there would be no sexual healing for Mr. Welling with the record in such a state. The heart of the dispute lay in the value and the cause of the damage. Mr. Welling presented a receipt for the Marvin Gaye record, which was valued at $25, though he was seeking $30 for the replacement. However, the true shock came from the cost of the needle. It was a special line contact needle priced at $660. Judge Williams questioned how a simple task of feeding fish led to the destruction of such an expensive piece of audio equipment. Mr. Welling explained that because Leo had expressed interest in the records, he had shown him how to play them before he left. He emphasized that the quality of the needle was essential for the audio experience of vintage vinyl. He had assumed that while he was away, Leo's curiosity had led him back to the record player, resulting in the damage. When Ms. Gallagher was given the floor, she offered a different perspective. She stated that while Leo admitted to breaking the record, he insisted he had never touched the record player itself. Therefore, she did not believe she should be held responsible for the $660 needle. Leo, having been sworn in by the bailiff, prepared to give his testimony. The young boy looked up at the judge, eyes wide with the novelty of the situation. Judge Williams, always one to bridge the generational gap, asked Leo if he had ever seen a record collection like that before. When he said no, she playfully asked if he knew what a compact disc or a Discman was. Leo's lack of recognition made the judge chuckle, noting the rapid evolution of technology. She reminded Leo that Mr. Welling had entrusted him with something precious and had told him that things you love must be handled with care and gentleness. Leo recounted the events of the final day of his 3-day responsibility. He had finished feeding the fish on Sunday and decided to browse through the records. As he pulled one out, it slipped from the sleeve, hit the ground, and cracked. That was the Marvin Gaye record. He maintained firmly that he never even got the chance to put it on the record player and knew nothing about the broken needle. Judge Williams turned back to Mr. Welling, who admitted he had no direct proof other than the fact that the needle worked before he left and was missing when he returned. He expressed his disappointment, feeling that his trust had been violated. He wanted Leo to learn about responsibility and accountability. The judge looked at the 12-year-old boy, noting that she was witnessing the becoming of a man in real time. She asked him once more, on his integrity, if he had touched the needle. Leo's answer remained a steadfast no. In her ruling, Judge Williams emphasized that while respect for others' property is paramount, the court must deal with facts and proof. She could not sustain a ruling based on an assumption without surveillance video or other evidence. However, since Leo had taken ownership of breaking the vinyl, she ruled in favor of the plaintiff for the amount of $30. The rest of the claim regarding the needle was dismissed. As the first pair of neighbors left, a new case was called. Ryan Parks, a producer and director, was suing an actor, Kyle Jones, for $458. The dispute centered on a hotel room service bill that Ms. Parks felt was an abuse of her kindness. Ms. Parks explained that she had cast Mr. Jones in a television pilot. When his car broke down, she went out of her way to put him up in a hotel room. However, she was disappointed with his professional conduct, noting that he showed up to the set 3 hours late, turning an 8 a.m. start into an 11 a.m. arrival. Furthermore, he had not fully memorized his lines, which led to costly reshoots. The crux of the financial dispute was the room service bill. Mr. Jones had racked up charges for steak, lobster, mac and cheese, an Angus cheeseburger, and various drinks from the mini bar. Ms. Parks felt this was far beyond what was agreed upon. Mr. Jones defended his actions by claiming he was simply following directions. He said Ms. Parks had told him to enjoy himself in the room. He explained that his late arrival and difficulty with the lines were due to receiving a revised 80-page script at 11 o'clock the night before the shoot. He had stayed up until 3 a.m. trying to learn the material and used the room service to sustain himself and the drinks to calm his nerves. Judge Williams listened carefully to both sides. She acknowledged the ambiguity of the phrase, "enjoy the room." While she believed Ms. Parks had uttered those words, she didn't agree that it gave Mr. Jones a blank check for surf and turf and minibar parties. She noted that there must be a standard of reasonableness in any professional agreement. Because both parties contributed to the lack of clear communication, Judge Williams decided to split the difference. She ruled in favor of the plaintiff, but reduced the award to $300. Despite the legal friction, both parties expressed a hope to maintain a working relationship, recognizing each other's talents. As the session drew to a close, Judge Williams watched the participants depart. Her courtroom remained a place where the complexities of human interaction were distilled into moments of clarity, where integrity was celebrated, and where the law served as a bridge toward understanding. It was, as always, a day where equal justice prevailed through the careful and compassionate eyes of the woman from North Carolina with a New York edge. The atmosphere in the courtroom was thick with a sense of purpose and the weight of responsibility. At the center of it all sat a woman whose presence commanded respect and radiated a unique blend of authority and warmth. To understand the proceedings, one only had to look at the nameplate resting on the bench, which bore the name Judge Eboni K. Williams. She began by addressing the room, her voice steady and clear, making it known that in this particular space, the only thing that truly mattered was how she perceived the truth. She shared a bit of her essence, describing herself as a woman from North Carolina by way of Louisiana, carrying with her a touch of West Coast cool and a sharp New York edge. When a small tension arose, she asked a woman before her if there was a problem, to which the reply was a respectful negative. For the judge, equal justice was not just a legal concept, but a reflection of the most important values of the country, rooted in freedom and integrity. These were the things she strived for every single day. She understood the dynamics of power and responsibility, once remarking to a woman that while she ran her own household, a man also had the right to run his. Her journey to the bench was fueled by a deep desire to become an attorney and pursue the law because she wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. She knew that the court could not always hold everyone accountable in the way people might expect, but her mission remained clear. Her courtroom was a place for people from all sectors of life, whether they were black, white, purple, gay, straight, or queer. That was the very heart of what equal justice with Judge Eboni K. Williams represented. The first case of the day involved a dispute between neighbors that centered on a piece of history and a moment of curiosity. Paul Welling, the plaintiff, stood with a look of disappointment, claiming that the needle of his cherished vintage record player and a vinyl album had been broken by his neighbor's son while he was away. On the other side stood Donna Gallagher, the defendant, who acknowledged that her tween son, Leo, had indeed admitted to damaging the record, but she firmly denied that he had anything to do with the damage to the record player. The judge greeted them, noting the presence of young Leo as a witness. The proceedings began with Mr. Welling explaining the situation. He had planned a golfing trip with a few buddies for a 3-day weekend and had reached out to Ms. Gallagher to see if Leo could feed his pet fish. He didn't want his fish left unattended and felt that the young man was responsible enough for the task. Before leaving, Mr. Welling had shown Leo how to care for the fish and had even shared his passion for his vintage record collection. He provided photos of the beautiful, large aquarium, which was about 6 feet long, and his extensive collection of several hundred albums. Everything seemed fine until Mr. Welling returned home. He discovered that the needle of his vintage record player was damaged beyond use and one of his records, a classic Marvin Gaye album, was broken. The judge examined the pieces, feeling the weight of the loss, especially since it was a Marvin Gaye record. Mr. Welling explained that the needle was not just any ordinary part, it was a special line contact needle valued at $660. He argued that the quality of the needle was essential for the audio experience of old records, and that a cheap $20 replacement simply would not do. He had shown Leo how to play a record on the Thursday before he left on Friday, but he believed that while he was gone, Leo had tampered with the player and caused the damage. Ms. Gallagher defended her son, stating that while Leo confessed to breaking the record, he insisted he never touched the record player. She did not believe she should be held responsible for the $660 needle. Leo, a 12-year-old boy, stood before the judge and took a sworn oath to tell the truth. He explained that he had noticed the collection because he had never seen anything like it before. He didn't even know what a compact disc or a Discman was. He recalled Mr. Welling telling him that things you love must be handled with care and gentleness. On the Sunday, the last day of his duties, Leo reached for a record, but it slipped out of the sleeve, hit the ground, and cracked. He maintained that he never even got the chance to put it on the player and knew nothing about the broken needle. Judge Eboni K. Williams listened carefully, looking into the eyes of the young man. She spoke of the importance of integrity and the transition into manhood. She believed Leo was a good kid who was standing in his truth. While she agreed with Mr. Welling that respect for others' property was paramount, she had to rely on facts and proof. Without surveillance video or direct evidence, she could not hold the defendant accountable based on an assumption. However, since Leo admitted to breaking the record, she ruled in favor of the plaintiff for the amount of $30 to replace the Marvin Gaye album. The rest of the claim for the expensive needle was dismissed. The second case brought a different kind of tension to the courtroom, involving the professional world of film production. Ryan Parks, a producer and director, was suing an actor named Kyle Jones for $458. The dispute arose after Ms. Parks had cast Mr. Jones in a TV pilot. Because his car had broken down, she had kindly arranged for him to stay in a hotel room, but she was shocked to find that he had racked up a significant bill for room service and the minibar. Ms. Parks expressed her frustration, noting that Mr. Jones had shown up to the set 3 hours late on the first day, arriving at 11 instead of 8 in the morning. This delay, combined with the fact that he didn't fully know his lines, had increased production costs and required reshooting scenes the next day. She felt her kindness had been taken advantage of, as the charges for steak, lobster, mac and cheese, and cocktails were never part of their agreement. Mr. Jones defended his actions with a sense of calm. He explained that he had received the 80-page script only at 11 o'clock the night before shooting began. He claimed he stayed up until 3 in the morning to learn his lines, and that the drinks from the minibar were intended to calm his nerves. He argued that Miss Parks had told him to enjoy himself in the room, and he was simply following her instructions. Ms. Parks countered that the late script was due to necessary adjustments by the writers, and that she didn't want to provide him with an outdated version. Judge Eboni K. Williams reviewed the itemized charges, noting the man's expensive taste for surf and turf and fine dining. She addressed the ambiguity of the phrase, "enjoy the room." While she believed Ms. Parks had said those words, she didn't agree that they should be interpreted as a license for unlimited spending. A standard of reasonableness had to be applied. In the end, the judge decided to split the difference, acknowledging that both parties had contributed to the poor communication. She ruled in favor of the plaintiff for $300. Despite the legal battle, there was a glimmer of professional respect left between them, as Ms. Parks hoped they could still work together, acknowledging that Mr. Jones was a talented actor. With the rulings delivered and justice served in her own unique way, the judge concluded the session, leaving the participants to move forward from their day in court.